Hello everyone and welcome to the final match of the Freestyle Chess Grand Slam final event. It is Levon Aronian versus Magnus Carlsen. Both of them played some incredible chess getting to the finals. Levon defeated Vincent Keimer in the semifinal. The two rapid games were a draw, and then Levon just obliterated him in blitz, winning 2 games. Whereas Magnus, it was anything could happen type of situation where Magnus won the first rapid game, and then Javoker retaliated in the second game, winning on demand, forcing tie breaks, and then Magnus won again the first game of the blitz section, and then Javoker almost retaliated back, but he blundered in winning position, and the game ended in a draw. So it's Levon versus Magnus. It's really an impeccable game. You guys will love this one. Let's dive straight into it. So Levon, and also today we're having the December Lotus Chess Arena. First link in the description below. You can register for the tournament. We're going to have a lot of fun as usual. I'll be joined by Rafael and Maxime from Lotus Chess. You guys can ask us questions. You can play the tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. Starts 6 p.m. Central European time. First link in the description below. So yeah, let's check it out. Levon with white opens with pawn to d4. It's a pretty neat position. The rooks are on their usual squares. Also, the knight is on the usual square. The bishop, the king, and the light square bishop. So the only pieces basically that have their places switched are the knight on d1 and the queen on g1. How much of this the players can actually use to maybe draw from some of the openings, I have no idea. That is up to these players to, at some point, to discuss. But d4, we have pawn to f5. Yeah, it can also be played in regular chess, but here you immediately open up the queen. So pawn to f3, Levon gets ready to strike in the center. Sorry about that. And pawn to e5. Magnus does strike in the center right away. We have d captures on e5 and knight b to c6. Magnus wants to recapture the pawn, but Levon sets a little trap, knight d to c3. And even though you can capture the pawn, it runs into queen e3, and black resigns here, as you can not defend it if d6, just f4. And if the queen defends, then just a knight b5, and there's no way to stop knight c7. Even if bishop b4, hoping of bishop a5, you can just block with bishop d2, so that will not work. So after knight dc3, we have knight to e6 and pawn to e4. Okay, f captures, knight captures, Levon improves the position of the knight. Pawn to b6, Magnus getting ready to fianchetto his light square bishop, and knight b to c3. We have bishop to b7 and pawn to f4. You can see by the situation on the clocks that Magnus is burning a lot more time. He's already down below 9 minutes. Levon almost 25 minutes, 23 minutes. And here we have castles queen side. So Levon decided to cement this central structure. The e5 pawn is now defended, and Magnus will have to look for some counterplay for that gambited pawn. Instead of this castling move, Magnus should have went for knight to c5. Just get that knight into the game, challenge the knight on e4. If a trade occurs, then you get the bishop into the game. This way, by castling queenside, Magnus sort of loses all compensation for the sacrifice material, because Levon plays bishop b3, and now it's incredibly difficult to find a useful move for Magnus. To give you an idea, let's say you want to develop the bishop, let's say bishop b4, you can just castle queenside. And even if you trade captures, again, very, very hard to develop that queen. Bishop to c4 is coming. It's just a very, very ugly position. So instead, Magnus strikes in the center, plays pawn d5, e captures on d6, en passant, bishop captures, and now queen to f2, setting another trap for Magnus, but this one he actually falls for. A very hard position, like I said, for Magnus. Probably bishop b4 has to be played, and he's just worse. He's down a pawn, but we have queen to f7. Magnus already on move 11 loses the game, but you have to play the correct move. So what is the move? Feel free to pause the video and win the game for Levon while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, you guys are true masters of tactics, and for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is bishop to c4. And it seems, like not all that much. You can just move the queen and that's it. But that's not the reality of this position. The threat, of course, is, let's say you play a weird move, just pawn to f5, and the knight is lost. So Magnus blocks the pawn, gets the queen out of the way, so the queen is now unpinned. But look at this spectacular move by Levon. Castles queen side. And it doesn't seem like much, but the move is actually aimed at not protecting the white king, but actually winning material. You'll see what happens. Magnus. Magnus goes king to b8, as you do not want that king on the same diagonal as the black queen. And now Levon just goes for rook to d5, and the black queen is out of squares. Whatever you play, like queen g6, you just win material. If you go queen back to f7, again f5, and again the knight cannot move. Wherever the knight moves, you just open up a discovery and win even more material. So what Magnus played is queen to f8, and he burned so much time, he's already below 1 minute on the clock, but he cannot avoid losing material. And it's pretty straightforward. Sure, you guys see it. Rook captures on d6, now exposing the knight to the deadly bishop, and the only way Magnus can avoid losing a piece is to give the exchange. So he plays rook captures on d6, knight captures, and queen captures. The knight is now defended, but now Levon isn't just up an exchange, he's also up a pawn that Magnus so conveniently sacrificed in the beginning of the game. Sorry about that. We have rook to d1 by Levon, queen to e7, and now rook back to e1. Again, aligning the rook with the queen. Magnus goes knight a5, threatens the bishop, bishop d3. Levon, of course, keeps the bishop pair in the game, and queen to d7. Again, unpinning and having some tricks in mind that you will very soon see. Okay, pawn to f5. Levon says, I'm up a pawn, I'm up an exchange. I'm just going to push here on the king side. I have 3 versus 2. And seems like the game is over. And also Levon has 18 minutes on the clock. Magnus has 40 seconds. Knight to d8. We have bishop to f4 and knight d to c6. Magnus with some tricks in his mind again. Pawn to g4, pawn to h6, and pawn to a3. Basically forcing Magnus's hand, and Magnus goes for it. Knight to b3 check, hoping for a capture so he can gobble up the bishop on d3, but Levon just calmly moves the king, king to b1. Knight c5, again pressuring the bishop, and the bishop to c4. Levon likes his bishop paired. There's no reason to get rid of it. We have rook to d8. Magnus completes development, and Levon even advances the pawn in front of the king. Pawn to b4, just improving his position, winning more squares, forcing the knight to move. But there's really no good square for the knight, so Magnus has to do what he usually loves, but here I don't think he loved it. He played queen to d4, and there are so many tricks in this position. Levon can even play bishop captures on c7. If Magnus captures, of course, knight b5 check, picks up the queen, so it's just a free pawn. But Levon says no need for that. He just captured the queen. We have rook captures on d4, now challenging both bishops, and now rook to e8 with check. Levon hoping for Magnus to move back the rook so he can further trade. Magnus goes bishop to c8, and now a simple bishop captures on c7 with check. King captures, knight to b5. Again with check, we have king d7 going after the rook, and now knight captures on d4. And it doesn't really matter what you do. If you capture the knight, then the rook just goes back. So Magnus captures the rook, Levon captures the knight on c6. And yes, Levon gave back the exchange, but he got another pawn. So now he has a winning endgame against Magnus. He's up 2 pawns, and there's really no way not to win this. As we like to say, even your uncle could do it. You just push some pawns, and that's it. But of course, Magnus will not just resign. He will make it difficult for Levon. Knight e4, we have king to b2, pawn to a6, and bishop back to e2. Preparing, of course, just the advancement of the pawns. King d7, and we have knight e5 check, king to d6, and knight to c4 with check. Now they're playing a little bit faster, so Magnus is also getting that increment, but it will not help him. We have king to c7. Pawn to h4, pawn to h5. Magnus even trades pawns on the king side to mess up Levon's pawn chain, but it is to no avail. We have bishop captures on h5, bishop to e6 challenging the knight, and just bishop back to e2. We have knight g3 challenging the bishop, and okay, bishop to d3. You have to give up the h5 square to defend the knight. Again, makes no difference. Knight h5, we have knight to e3, pawn to a5, and now king to c3. We have captures, knight to f4, and here Levon played king to d4, and he was in this position on move 45 that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Seems like, okay, maybe you could play a bit more, but Magnus cannot afford to trade either bishop or knight, so any trade goes in Levon's favor because the king and pawn endgame is winning, and you can play, let's say, king to d6, king e4, you chase away the knight. Of course, any trade is just winning for white, so you don't even have to calculate that. If you go knight h5, knight f5, check. Again, if you trade, it's bad. If you don't, you have to allow the white king into the game, king d7, king e5. And here black really is without moves. There's just no move that you can play. It's just a disgustingly broken position, c4, c5. Literally anything can be played. The knight can never move. You're going to lose a pawn. If you move it, then it's just going to become a target for the bishop. So, of course, Magnus does not want to torture himself. He resigns, and he will look for a comeback in the second rapid game. So we'll see if Levon wraps it up in the rapids, or can Magnus force tie breaks. So yeah, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. First game of the Freestyle Chess Grand Slam final. Levon creates a masterpiece, as we have already been accustomed to. Maybe we weren't expecting it against Magnus, but maybe we were. Levon's been playing incredible chess for the last year and a half, I would say. And, especially here where creativity starts on move one, it's very hard to rival Levon. But yeah, really hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Nicolas Rivard, Eddie Sphere, Brian Pratt, David Gasparian, and Timothy Rozon for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon. Have an excellent rest of your day, and register for the tournament. Starts today. First link in the description below. Let's enjoy some chess.